There's a family photo on the hallway wall. Gold frame glossy print, all of you dressed in beige for some reason, standing in a field like you were about to shoot a country album cover. Your sister's in the center. You're off to the side, cut off at the shoulder, a little blur where your face should be. You didn't notice it until you moved back home after college. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. That frame, it's the whole story. You always played the role, dutiful, quiet, easy to overlook. While your sister sang every song loud enough for 3 counties, you were the one making sure the oven was turned off after dinner. She got the spotlight. You got the crumbs. And you told yourself it was fine. You told yourself it didn't matter who got what as long as the family stayed intact. But you didn't expect to feel the crack the moment they made it official, the business, the thing your grandfather built. The thing you helped run while your sister was still chasing influencer dreams was being handed to her. No conversation, no warning. Just an email you weren't meant to see. Signed it over yesterday, your mom had written to your dad. She'll do better with it than he ever could. He, not you. Like your name wasn't even worth typing. You sat with that email for a long time. Didn't rage, didn't cry. Just stared at it, cold tea in your hand, the family dog asleep at your feet like nothing had shifted. But everything had. Because up until then, you thought maybe, just maybe, you were misinterpreting it all. That you were being too sensitive. That the birthday cards addressed only to your sister were accidents. That the way they always introduced her first in public wasn't intentional. That the reason they gave her your grandmother's necklace before you even knew it was up for grabs wasn't favoritism, just bad timing. But this was deliberate. This was clarity in the cruelest font. You didn't confront them that night. Instead, you cleaned the house top to bottom, scrubbed the sinks, replaced the filters, washed the windows. You were used to doing things that went unnoticed. It felt oddly comforting, like muscle memory. When they came home, they didn't sense the shift. Your mom complained about the price of groceries. Your dad mentioned how your sister had really grown and was ready to lead. You nodded, you even smiled. Because you knew something they didn't, something they'd long forgotten. You owned the house. That little detail, a line on a deed buried under bills and old tax returns. You bought it when the market dipped using savings and a government program they mocked you for pursuing. You'll never get approved, they'd said, but you had. Quietly, legally, completely. They always treated it like their home, like you were a guest, like your presence was tolerated, not appreciated. But the title, it said otherwise. You just never reminded them, until now. Because the thing about being forgotten is eventually you start remembering yourself. You lie awake that night staring at the ceiling and think they made their choice. And now, so will you. The next morning, the sun creeps in through the blinds, casting long bars of light across your bedroom wall. The room you still sleep in, even though it's your house. The irony makes you chuckle into your pillow. You move through the morning like normal, quiet steps, brushing your teeth to the sound of the old plumbing groaning through the pipes. But inside, something's shifted. The part of you that used to beg for scraps of acknowledgement has gone silent. Downstairs, your sister's voice is the first thing you hear. She's on the phone pacing the kitchen like it's her office. You catch a fragment, something about rebranding and streamlining operations. She sees you, waves vaguely. Hey, don't forget Mom's expecting you to help with the taxes later. You just stare at her. Mom's expecting as if you're still on payroll. As if they didn't hand over your family's legacy like a free tote bag at a networking event. You make coffee instead. Black, no sugar. Sharp, honest. Your mother breezes in 10 minutes later, arms full of receipts and a half-eaten bagel. She starts listing things she needs you to do. No greeting, no warmth. You stop her with one question. When were you going to tell me? She blinks. Tell you what, you tilt your head. That you transferred the business to her. Your dad, who just walked in behind her, freezes mid-step. It's like someone hit pause on both of them. Your mom recovers first. It's just paperwork. You're not really business-minded anyway. It's surgical the way she says it. No malice, just pure dismissal. Like you're a minor character in her episode of How I Raised a Girl Boss. You nod slowly, letting it sink. Then you sip your coffee. Your dad fumbles. We thought you'd be happier not dealing with all that stress. You're more behind the scenes. You want to laugh. Not because it's funny, but because you've never heard a weaker excuse for betrayal. Your sister doesn't even stop scrolling through her phone. You say nothing else that day. But that night, you walk into the office, the one your parents still call Dad's den, even though the desk is yours, and you pull out the deed. The original, notarized, paid in full. Your name etched in ink across the bottom. You take a photo of it. Then you send it to your own email, with the subject line, for when they pretend it was always theirs. You sit back in the chair, suddenly aware of how far you've come. You bought this house. You paid every installment while they congratulated your sister on switching majors without finishing one. They don't see it because they never wanted to, but that won't matter soon. Because the moment's coming, not for revenge, for truth. And when it hits, it won't be loud. It'll be undeniable. You wait a few days, not because you're unsure, but because you want them to get comfortable. Let them bask in the illusion that you're still quietly orbiting their plan's loyal satellite that never breaks path. Your sister brings home a stack of folders marked expansion ideas. You're the one who notices she spelled consulting wrong on the cover sheet, twice. But you don't say anything, not this time. Instead, you wait until Sunday breakfast day, when your mom usually makes pancakes from a box, and your dad insists on reading headlines out loud like a talk show host. Your sister wears her silk robe, even though she spills syrup on it every single week. You set the deed on the table in front of them. No words, just paper. They pause. You sip your orange juice. Your mom reaches for it first, squinting. What's this? You tilt your head. It's the deed to this house. Your dad laughs awkwardly. Yeah, we know. No, you say quietly. It's my deed. Bought it 5 years ago. You're not listed on it, not even as co-owners. Silence. Your sister finally looks up from her phone. Wait, what do you mean yours? You breathe slowly. I paid the down payment, took the loan, paid it off early. Remember when you thought I was wasting money working 2 jobs? That's what I was doing, buying this place. Your mom goes pale. Your dad shifts uncomfortably. Your sister scoffs. That's not fair. You still live here. And I let you, you say, still calm. I didn't charge rent. I didn't throw it in your face. But now that the family business is out of my hands, I figured it's time we start being honest about ownership. Your mom leans forward. You never said anything. I never needed to, you reply, until now. You let the words land, let the idea sink in that the roof over their heads, the floor beneath their feet, the walls they think are theirs, are actually yours. Your sister makes a noise of disbelief. You're acting like a landlord. You shrug. Maybe I am. Your dad looks stunned. So what now? You want us out. You smile slightly. Not yet. I just want the dynamic to reflect reality. They don't speak after that. Not for a while. Later, your mom tries to guilt you. She corners you in the hallway like she used to when you were little and wanted to cry without being seen. You're doing this to hurt us. You meet her eyes. No, I'm doing this because I can. That night, your sister posts a quote on Instagram. Some people value money over family. No names, but everyone knows. You don't respond, because this isn't a fight. This is a correction. You finally learned that being quiet doesn't make you noble, it just makes you easier to ignore. And now, they'll have to look at you differently, not as the extra, not as the helper, but as the owner of the house, of your worth, of the story. They don't confront you outright, not yet, but you feel it in the air. The temperature of the house shifts. Not cold, not hot, just off. The way someone might start shutting a door 2 seconds faster. The way your sister stops leaving her half-finished coffee mugs on the counter like she owns the place. Even your dad, who used to hum while doing the dishes, moves more quietly now, as if walking on someone else's floor. Because he is. They don't say thank you. They don't apologize. Instead, they pivot. You walk into the living room one afternoon to find your bedroom door wide open and your old things boxed up neatly in the hallway. Your books, your favorite blanket, that lamp you bought at a flea market because it made you feel like you were building something on your own. Inside the room, fresh paint, a new rug, and your sister's handbag on the bed. You stand there still. Your mom appears behind you, towel over her shoulder. We just thought it made more sense. You're hardly ever home. You turn slowly, so you're redecorating my room. Her smile is tight. It's not your room, sweetie. It's the guest room. It takes everything not to laugh. The audacity of it. After years of being treated like a guest in your own family, they finally admit it just when the power balance shifts. You don't fight. You don't shout. You just nod, step into the room, and unplug the lamp. You don't mind if I take what's mine, you say, lifting the box and walking past her before she can reply. That night, your sister hosts some friends over. Loud laughter, expensive wine, a lot of talk about branding and going viral. You watch from the staircase for a while before heading outside, sitting on the front porch with a jacket and your thoughts. The porch lights flicker. You make a mental note to replace the bulb. After all, it's your porch. The next morning, the bathroom cabinet is suddenly filled with your sister's products. Your shampoo gone, your toothbrush moved. She catches your look and shrugs. You don't really use this one anymore, right? Your jaw tightens. You're not subtle. She sips her coffee. I'm not trying to be. You don't respond. You don't have to. Instead, you walk back to your room now relocated down the hall, the one with the creaky floor and peeling paint, and you pull out a file folder. Inside your lawyer's card, your mortgage paperwork, and a copy of the HOA bylaws. You're not planning to evict anyone, but you are done letting them pretend. Later that week, your mom makes a pointed comment at dinner, something about contributions and how everyone should pull their weight. Your dad doesn't look up. Your sister smirks into her pasta. You clear your throat. Speaking of pulling weight, would you like me to draw up a lease agreement? They freeze. You let the words settle like dust. Then you smile, fold your napkin, and say softly, or maybe we should stop pretending this is still your castle. It happens on a Wednesday. You're heading out for work, bag on your shoulder, keys in hand, when your mom stops you at the front door. She's holding a folded sheet of paper like it might bite her. Her voice is high and airy, too controlled. We thought, maybe it's time you start contributing a little more. You raise an eyebrow. More. She nods, not quite meeting your eyes. You do well at your job, right? And your sister's trying so hard with the business. So, she unfolds the paper. It's a homemade spreadsheet printed in color ink, like that makes it more legitimate. At the bottom is a red number, $1,200. Your monthly rent. You laugh, out loud. It slips out before you can catch it, a short, stunned bark of disbelief. Rent, you echo slowly. Your dad walks in behind her, hands shoved into his pockets. He doesn't speak. He never does when things get uncomfortable. Your mom straightens. It's only fair. The house has bills, upkeep, maintenance. You look her dead in the eye. I've been paying those for years, quietly, consistently. You just never bothered to ask who was keeping the lights on. She blinks, caught. That's not the same. No, you say, voice low, you're right, it's not. Because this house isn't yours to charge rent for. Your sister appears on the staircase, towel in her hair, eavesdropping without shame. Come on, she calls down. We all live here. It's not about ownership, it's about family. You spin toward her. Exactly. So why'd you accept the business like it was a birthday present and not think to include me? She shrugs, lips twitching into a fake smile. Because Mom said I'd be better at it. You turn back to your mother. You're asking me to pay rent on a house I own while giving my sister the family business for free. Her arms fold. It's not about the money, it's about the principle. You shake your head slowly. Then you should have thought about principles before cutting me out of the only thing I ever worked for in this family. There's a pause, a heavy stretching pause where no one moves, not even your dad. You reach into your pocket and pull out your phone. Okay, if you want to make this official, we can make it official. You step aside, walk toward the hallway, and tap out a quick message. Not a threat. Just a simple text to your lawyer. Hey, can we revisit the lease draft? I might need it after all. You hit send. Then you look back at them, three people, suddenly realizing the floor under their feet has limits. You want rent, fine, but that comes with rules, boundaries, responsibilities. Your mom tries to backtrack. That's not what we meant. You cut her off. It's exactly what you meant. You just didn't think I'd ever call your bluff. You leave the paper on the table and walk out the door. The air outside is clean, the sun warm, and for the first time you feel like you're not just surviving inside their narrative. You're writing your own. The letter is printed on crisp, thick paper with your lawyer's name embossed in the header. No frills, no dramatic language, just facts. It states politely but firmly that you are the sole legal owner of the property. It outlines your rights. It confirms that no one, not even family, is entitled to occupy the space rent-free without a formal agreement. It arrives in the mailbox on a Friday. You watch from the upstairs window as your mother opens it. She stands on the porch for a long time, afterward, letter in one hand, the other gripping the railing like it might tip the world back into balance. Your sister reads it next. She mutters something you can't hear, probably a snide joke. That's her reflex when she feels cornered. Your dad, he just sits in his chair and rubs his temples. By dinner, the house is quiet. No one talks about the letter, but no one touches their food either. You eat in peace, bite by bite. Let them stew in the same discomfort they used to serve you daily, disguised as passive aggression and parental disappointment. It takes 3 days for the retaliation to show up. A formal response. typed signed by your parents with shaky legalese that smells of desperation and Google searches. They claim there was a verbal agreement, that you promised the house would always belong to the family, that your purchase was symbolic, not actual, that the family unity trumps paperwork. You nearly laugh. Instead, you forward it to your lawyer. She replies within the hour, "This won't hold, but prepare yourself, they may escalate." You do. Your sister starts calling you the landlord behind your back. Your mom drops pointed comments about loyalty and betrayal during phone calls with relatives loud enough for you to hear. But they stop asking you for help. They stop pretending they have control. Then it happens. The knock on the door comes on a Thursday morning, a courier, thick envelope. Inside, court papers. Your parents are suing you. They filed a civil claim for breach of familial trust and unjust enrichment. Their argument hinges on the idea that because you lived there rent-free for years, the house should now be returned to them, or at least partially transferred to your sister. You sit at the kitchen table, papers spread out, sunlight slanting across clauses and case numbers. You should be furious, but you're not. You're calm, cold even. Because there it is, everything they never had the courage to say out loud now, written in ink. You were never seen as part of the family. You were seen as a resource. And now that you've closed the tap, they're scrambling to build a dam. You text your lawyer again. She answers with a call this time. "You'll win," she says. "It'll be ugly, but you'll win." You hang up and walk out to the living room. Your mom is folding laundry. Your dad is staring at the TV remote, limp in his hand. Your sister's feet are on the coffee table, scrolling like nothing happened. You hold up the papers. Game on. Your mom doesn't respond. Your dad won't look you in the eye. But your sister smirks. You nod to yourself. Good. Let them bring this to court. Let them say it all in front of strangers under oath. Let the world see what you've known all along. This wasn't family. This was exploitation in matching sweaters. And now it ends. Court isn't dramatic like in the movies. There's no gas, no slamming gavels, no fiery speeches. Just paperwork, fluorescent lights, and the faint smell of industrial carpet. You sit on one side of the room, your lawyer next to you, her nails tapping quietly on a yellow legal pad. Across from you are your parents and your sister, tired, stiff, and for once all wearing clothes that don't quite fit the occasion. Your mom chose pearls which look out of place. Your dad's in a suit that hasn't seen daylight since your high school graduation. Your sister looks like she's going to brunch. The judge asks simple questions. Did you purchase the home? Yes. Do you hold the title? Yes. Did you enter into any formal rental agreements with your family? No. Your parents fidget as their lawyer tries to argue something about familial obligation. He uses phrases like implied trust and generational expectations. You sit there completely still, because it's all on paper, everything that mattered. The mortgage payments, the utilities, the down payment, the property taxes. You'd kept every receipt, every email. You'd been careful even when they called you paranoid. Your sister gets called up next. She tries charm, says you were like roommates, that you never acted like an owner, that you were always so generous until you changed. The judge interrupts her. Were you paying rent? No, she admits. The courtroom falls still. You glance at her. She avoids your eyes. Then your parents take the stand. One after another, their words laced with disappointment. They try to frame it like a betrayal. He's punishing us for choosing what's best for the business, your mom says. He never acted like family, your dad adds. Always kept records, like he was waiting for this. You lean forward. You made me keep records. The judge pauses, then nods slowly as if confirming what was already obvious. The decision is short. You retain full ownership. They have no legal claim. The court is adjourned. Your sister storms out, first heels clacking. Your dad lingers at the back, avoiding eye contact. But your mom, she stares at you like she doesn't recognize who you've become. Maybe she doesn't, because for the first time, you didn't flinch. You didn't shrink. You didn't compromise for the sake of keeping the piece of peace that only ever existed when you were swallowing your voice. You walk out of the courthouse into pale afternoon light. The sky looks wider. The air feels clearer. And you don't just feel vindicated. You feel done. Later that night, you get a message from a distant cousin. Heard about the court thing. Good for you. Took guts. You don't reply, but you smile. Because word's getting around. And for once, it's not the version your family spins at holiday tables. It's the truth. The version where you stopped bending, stopped funding, and finally drew a line. You sit by the window, cup of tea in hand, and stare out at your own yard. The grass is a little overgrown. The porch light needs changing. The fence leans slightly to one side. But it's yours. Every inch. And no one's taking it again. The locks change on a Tuesday. Not out of spite, not to make a scene, just necessity. Your lawyer advised it gently but firmly, once the court ruling settled. Establish a clean boundary, she said. Legally, you're in the clear. Now, give yourself space. So you hire a locksmith. You stand at the edge of the porch while the old tumblers fall out, replaced with fresh brass. There's something oddly intimate about it, watching access be redefined. For the first time in years, you're the only one who decides who gets to walk through the door. You text the family group chat afterward. Locks have been changed. If you need anything from the house, schedule with me first. No one replies. A few hours later, your sister shows up. She doesn't knock at first, just jiggles the handle like muscle memory. When it doesn't give, she steps back, blinks like she's waking from a dream. Then she rings the bell. You open it slowly, leaning against the frame. You locked me out, she asks, voice rising like a challenge. No, you say calmly. The court did. She crosses her arms. So that's it. You're evicting your own family. You glance behind her toward the street, the driveway, the familiar sidewalk where you once taught her how to ride a bike, while your parents watched from the porch with disinterest. I'm not evicting anyone, you say. I'm reclaiming space I already owned. She scoffs. Wow. You really think you're the victim in all this? You nod once. Not anymore. I used to. She starts to say something, then stops. You can see it, her realizing the old tactics don't work here. There's no stage, no audience, no parents behind her to play referee. I just wanted my stuff, she mutters. Make a list. I'll bring it to you. You're serious. You fold your arms. You thought the house was yours until the court told you otherwise. I think a bit of seriousness is overdue. She stares at you for a long moment. Then quietly, they're calling you cold. You tilt your head. Then maybe cold is what boundaries feel like to people who've always been warm at my expense. Her jaw clenches, but she doesn't argue. She leaves without another word. You close the door latch, your door, your home. Inside, everything feels quieter, not empty, just honest. You walk through the halls, noticing how different the house sounds now. It no longer creaks from tension. It no longer holds conversations you're not part of. It's just a space finally reflecting your presence instead of shrinking around it. You pull the framed photo off the hallway wall, the one where you're cut off at the shoulder. You toss it in a drawer. Maybe one day you'll replace it. Maybe not. You make tea, you sit in the living room, you breathe. And for the first time in your life, you don't feel like an imposter in your own story. You feel like the author. You don't hear from them for a while. No texts, no missed calls, no random posts tagging you in family throwbacks. Just a long, echoing silence. And you'd think it would hurt that absence, but instead it feels like someone finally turned off the static you didn't realize was keeping you awake at night. Of course, the silence doesn't last. It never does. Word gets out, families talk, and your parents, desperate to save face, begin rewriting the script. Your aunt messages you. I heard you kicked your parents out. Is everything okay? You stare at the message for a moment, then reply simply, they sued me. The typing bubble appears, disappears, appears again. Then nothing. You can guess the rest. Your parents spinning the story into something more palatable, that you blindsided them, that you let success go to your head, that they were the ones betrayed. It's almost impressive how they twist facts into fables, how they paint you as cold, transactional, heartless. And you let them, because you've stopped arguing with people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You've stopped performing empathy for people who only show up when it costs you something. Your sister posts a cryptic message online. Family means forgiveness. If you're not willing to forgive, maybe you were never family to begin with. It gets likes, sympathy, a few comments with heart emojis, and sending love. You resist the urge to reply. Instead, you bake a pie, light a candle, invite 2 close friends over for dinner. They sit around your table barefoot, laughing too loud, pouring wine into mismatched glasses. No pretense, no tension, just warmth. One of them toasts to choosing peace over approval. You raise your glass. You don't explain. You don't tell them what it took to get here. But inside, a line settles softly. They called me cold, so I built my life warm. You repaint the hallway next. A soft pale green, something calming. You take down old frames, patch the nail holes, and hang up art that reflects who you are now, not who you were when you still craved their praise. A neighbor drops by one afternoon. she asks casually. So it's really just you now? You smile. Yeah, just me. She looks surprised, then nods slowly. It's quieter this way, huh? You nod, and quieter's not a bad thing. You mow your lawn, pay your taxes, rewire the doorbell. You do the unglamorous, ordinary things that build a life, and every single task is yours, unshared, unchallenged. And the more you fill your life with these quiet joys, the less room there is for their noise. They may never understand why you did what you did. They may never see you as more than the black sheep who got too independent. But you don't need their lens anymore. You've got your own view now, clear-grounded and entirely yours. It's been 2 years. Long enough for the drama to settle, for the rumors to die down, for the neighbors to stop pretending they're accidentally bumping into you at the mailbox. The house is quiet now, but not empty. It's full of you. You've repainted almost every room, replaced the couch, finally got around to putting up that bookshelf you used to dream about when you were working overtime, just to keep the lights on for everyone else. You live gently these days, slow breakfasts, soft playlists, quiet joy. Then one morning it happens. A letter in the mail, handwritten address, no return name. You open it cautiously, already suspecting what it is. And you're right. Your mother's handwriting. The first line, "We miss you." The rest is typical flowery phrases about family time healing wounds. And your sister is in a better place now emotionally. A few lines are scratched out, rewritten, like she couldn't quite decide if she was apologizing or just reaching. At the end, she adds, "Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can start over." You fold the letter, set it aside. You don't cry, you don't rage, you just sit with it. You've imagined this moment, haven't you? Some version of it. Maybe not a letter, maybe a phone call, a knock on the door, something that would make you question everything you've built, something that would tempt you to open the gate again. But instead, all you feel is clarity. They're not reaching out because they've changed. They're reaching out because they missed the control they had when you hadn't. You stare out the window. The tree you planted last spring is finally blooming, small flowers pale and defiant. You think about the time you would have rushed to reply, to patch things, to be the one who makes everyone comfortable again. But you're not that person anymore. You haven't been for a long time. Later that evening, you light a candle, open your notebook, the same one you started when this whole unraveling began, and write one final line. "I didn't win. I just stopped losing on their terms." You never send a reply. Instead, you invite your chosen family, your real one, over for dinner. They bring laughter and homemade bread and stories that don't begin with guilt. You sit at the head of the table smiling, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally own the room you're sitting in, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and no one can take that from you again. You breathe out slowly, the evening stretching soft around you like a well-worn blanket. The walls no longer echo with tension. The floor doesn't creak from sidestepping old arguments. There's peace in this quiet and earned, steady kind of peace. One that doesn't demand a performance. One that doesn't ask you to shrink so others can shine. You light a single candle, the same way you've done 100 times before. But tonight it glows a little warmer, not because the wax has changed, but because you have. They called you cold. They called you selfish. They called you ungrateful. But the truth is, you were tired. Tired of carrying things no one noticed until you stopped. Tired of being loyal to a version of family that only loved you when you were useful. Tired of proving your worth to people who never questioned your sisters. So you chose peace, not the kind that comes from running, the kind that comes from staying, and still saying no. And that's its own kind of love. A fiercer kind, a softer kind. The kind you give to yourself when no one else will. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.